recording. All right, we look good. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to Mi Casa es Su Casa. My name is Niko House, and I am your host. And with me today, we have H.A. Goodman. Samira was supposed to be here, but I guess we can forgive her because she ended up getting a job interview. Although she's being all 007 about it and won't tell me exactly what it is yet, I'm sure she's going to do well, and we wish you luck. But nonetheless, we still want to welcome our guest, H.A. Goodman. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Niko, how are you, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, because you're cutting up a little.
Is it cutting up for you?
A little bit.
Let me see. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but there's like some background noise when you speak.
That's peculiar. Let me put my headset on and see. Hello? Is it like crackling?
Yes.
How about now?
Now is good.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's try it again. So I would like to welcome our host, H.A. Goodman. How you doing, H.A.?
Good. How you doing, Niko?
Fantastic. You know, just getting through the day being called a conspiracy theorist. What? Every other Twitter post I make. Oh, whoa. Who said you can use common sense here? Okay? You leave that for your Facebook and things like this. Crazy. I'm sure you've been going through it too, huh?
Yep. Well, I actually now I flipped the script on them, so I call CNN the botched robbery conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. I've been doing that too because I mean, when you really think about it, like it's not just that. It's the botched robbery conspiracy theory with literally no one corroborating that, not even the police chief at the time. Mm-hmm. And then the Russian conspiracy theory, the theory that there's literally no proof for with just a bunch of anonymous sources. Like if you or I ever came out and said like, okay, we know for a fact that Hillary Clinton, in fact, did rig the election. Okay, who's your source? Well, they're anonymous. We can't tell you. Mm-hmm. What's their job position? Well, they work somewhere in politics. We can tell you that. We would be laughed off the face of the internet. Yep. It's ridiculous, the double standard, right? But I just want to let the people know a little bit about who you are, where you came from, as far as your political commentary and an analyst background, and just give them a little bio about who you are and what you do.
Well, I've been writing for a number of years, and I've been published in the Huffington Post, Salon, The Hill, the Jerusalem Post. I've been on CNN, MSNBC, RT, and I guess people know a lot of my writing during the primary Bernie Sanders. So I wrote about 200 articles.
200?
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. For Bernie Sanders, saying that I wanted him, not Hillary Clinton. In 2015, I stated that Clinton was unelectable because of the favorability ratings. And I said only Bernie Sanders could win. And that was in The Hill, and that was also in the Huffington Post, and also published in Salon. So it's actually several different articles saying the same thing. Yeah. And I repeated myself like I usually do whenever I on my YouTube channel. So all my writing is like repetitive. Clinton was going to lose. If it's not Bernie, you're going to have a Trump presidency. All of these things. I stated that in CNN, MSNBC, all of that. So basically, that's I guess a quick bio of me. Yeah, man, that's basically kind of who I am.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was one of the ones. So when I made a video predicting that if Trump or if Bernie Sanders didn't win the primary, that Trump would win, the reason I ended up finding you was because someone had directed me to you in one of your Huffington Post articles with you saying the same thing. And pretty much our thought process was aligned. And that's actually when I started following your Facebook page. Now I was like, okay, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. I like to cut this guy's jib. Since then, me and you have pretty much been aligned on every issue that I can think of. Mm-hmm. I've even a lot of times whenever I'm about to do a video about something that's maybe controversial require a great deal of information or just even background knowledge, because I think that's very important for what we do as well. I go to your videos,
Thank you.
the links that you provide and things like that, because I do respect your commentary, your analysis.
Thank you, and I respect yours. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So obviously we've had a lot happen since the primaries, during the primaries. And one thing, I don't remember how, I think whenever I first started following you, I swear I feel like you only had like 25,000 followers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Am I right? Like around the beginning of the maybe like 20, 25,000?
Yep. Yeah.
And now you're up to 73,000 subscribers?
Yep.
That's insane. That's a lot. That's a big jump, man. That's a big jump. It's a lot of responsibility. Yep. But I think that people should rightfully attribute that jump, in the same reason that, and the same thing for Tim Black, and the same thing for others who have been able to benefit from, well, mostly others that have been able to benefit from that primary jump. It's because a lot of the stuff you say is true. Now, some things don't always come into fruition. We can talk about that. But the reasons that they don't come into fruition have nothing to do with the facts that you bring about in your analysis. They don't come into fruition because, well, the system is rigged.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my fan base has grown, and I think, Tim Black has been a big force. And that's, one great reason why, I have, the voice I have also. So, I love Tim, as you know, and I know you do as well.
And you did the same for me. So
exactly. I mean, I think that, Niko, you speak the truth. Tim does. I do. We don't, if we go out on a limb, that's okay. It's not that we're not going out on a limb because we enjoy the haters, because we enjoy people calling us conspiracy theorists and then having everything we said turn out to be true. We were called crazy when we said Clinton can't win. 538 came out.
99-1, 99-1 chance. 99% chance. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. 538 Nate Silver stated that Trump wouldn't even be GOP nominee. 3 days before the election, Nate Cohn of the New York Times came out with an article, Hillary Clinton has a solid electoral college lead. That's even before they said, popular vote, solid electoral college lead. So
lies. I mean, if I recall, you and I had both made videos saying those numbers are wrong. They're lying to you. All hell's about to break loose.
Exactly.
Like their numbers aren't matching up with actual statistics.
Exactly. Exactly.
What do you think about how the dim exit affected? Because while we're talking about that, how the dim exit affected the outcome of the election?
Well, I think that the Democratic Party almost wants people to leave its party. I don't know. It's almost working overtime to to get people.
It does seem like they can't be this stupid. I don't know.
I think that what it is that they don't care about people like you or me. They don't care about normal people. They care about donors. Now, if the donors want to hear a Russian hacking narrative, that brings in money. If the donors want to say that Clinton's going to win, great. If the donors read the Washington Post, well, then they're going to tailor everything to what the big money corporations, celebrities, if they can get, the $30,000 per plate Hollywood dinner, they'll do it. That's all good for them. It's no problem. If you or me or other, normal people, if we are upset or outraged, they don't care. So, and that's the thing. The Seth Rich discussion, it's so quick to say it's a conspiracy theory, but then Trump and Putin had sex. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually, that happened because James Comey wrote it in a napkin someplace.
Yeah.
All of that is that the Trump-Russia's conspiracy, because that's all circumstantial evidence that actually have to really weave and paint. Seth Rich, 2 shots in the back, WikiLeaks retweets numerous times. You have Kim.com saying that he's willing to testify under oath. And then instead of the Washington Post or CNN or BuzzFeed saying, okay, well, what does Kim.com have? It's no, you can't even talk about it because if you do, it's a cruel thing.
Yeah. Oh man, that Kim.com situation, obviously, like the dude knew what was about to happen in May of 2015. And so, yeah, that's a big red flag. But I think what was more interesting, and this is, so it's hard for me to stomach watching mainstream media. And people were like, well, why is that? Well, first of all, when you do as much research as you and I do, and when you start to, as soon as you hear, kind of like this inceptious rhetoric, these repetitive, like the whole right-wing conspiracy theory, Russia. Anytime they think they talk about WikiLeaks, they automatically link it to to Russia. Anytime you hear emails at all, they say email scandal. They have no idea what email scandal they're referring to. They just know it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. And you hear these triggers that they know will be directed, or people will take them as, okay, that's just the right wing being stupid, but not realizing that a lot of these issues were pressed by progressives. But I've learned that you learn a lot from watching the mainstream media, and you learn from two things. Whatever they're pushing, figure out what's wrong with it immediately, because there's something wrong with it. Whoever they mention, you need to find out who they're not talking about. You need to find out the other half of the story, because oftentimes you'll find out more in that. And you can find out a lot, by doing those two things. If you watch them critically, it's scary, actually. And that's how that's what my point is. The note that Seth Rich's brother wrote that nobody saw to Fox News, asking them to retract their article. I don't know did you see the note? Did you see the note? I haven't seen it.
All we know is that there's a Democratic crisis management counselor that's linked to the Democratic Party. But I think that, the main issue is, let's say that, let's say I'm 100% wrong or you're 100% wrong. The official narrative was a botched robbery. Let's say that, it was a botched robbery and that's it. Well, why would Kim.com offer evidence? Why would WikiLeaks retweet? Why would Rod Wheeler and CNN, BuzzFeed, all of them, what they did to Rod Wheeler, that's criminal.
We're going to talk about that too. Oh, yeah. Man, look. So first of all, Seth Rich, the note, did you see what the note said? Did you see what the last part of the note said? Don't give Kim.com a platform to provide false evidence.
It's not about,
that's a weird statement to say, right? You hired a private investigator. If this man says, I don't care if it's false or not, I'm not going to know. If this is my family member and this man has evidence, give it to me and I'll determine. I'll let the PI determine, or the police, maybe not the DC police, but some official determine whether the evidence is false. And we know, especially when evidence is electronic, it's very easy to prove whether it's false or whether it's real. But to have, I don't want to call them idiots because it's not their fault. They've been conditioned. But to have people believe that any person whose family member died will legitimately write a letter saying, don't provide evidence.
Yeah.
Like, nobody ever said that ever.
Nobody ever said that. And I put on Twitter and Facebook, I said, if I'm ever popped twice in the back and WikiLeaks offers a reward and Kim.com offers to testify under oath, never stop investigating for my killers, never stop finding who did it. And that's it.
Once a week during the primary.
Yeah, exactly. Never stop. And the thing is that it all ties into Trump Russia. If they find out that Seth Rich was actually a patriot, he was a beautiful human being, but they find out that he was a hero, a patriot, and he went ahead and he was a burner. He loved Bernie Sanders. And you know what? If Kim.com, and the funny
work, it does not work for them.
It would not work.
That's the worst type of they have a lot going wrong right now. Obviously, we know the DNC fraud suit. That is so much coming. It's like this. It's crazy because it's like it's a revolution that's happening, and everything is happening all at once. One, because obviously they got arrogant. Two, because they're not as smart as people would like to think they are. And three, Yeah, they're really not. It's very obvious. People are like, but Hillary was a Yale grad. And I'm like,
it's a big deal.
Money and test scores to get into an Ivy League. That does not mean that you're smart.
No.
It means you're affluent, you have money, and your family was able to teach you how to talk white man. That's what we call that. So it doesn't mean that you're smart. And so it's all these things happening. All this investigation happens. Then the Seth Rich thing happens. Then the Sean Lucas thing is happening, which is obviously resurfaced because of the Seth Rich incident. We still haven't seen Sean Lucas's. We haven't seen his autopsy yet. All this stuff is coming out. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is losing her head. The private investigator, I don't know if you heard that yet, but the private investigator came out after the family fired him and then said, oh, okay, well, since we're playing that game, it was Donna Brazile. Donna Brazile called the dad and the police department after I called her to figure out if I was snooping. Like, this stuff is crazy. Mm-hmm. And for people to ignore evidence upon evidence upon evidence, some of it circumstantial, some of it factual. Nobody has denied it. When has Donna, they say, oh, all the private investigators, everything he said was retracted. By who? You know what's funny about that? Everybody go look and see where news articles claim that the private investigator retracted his statements. I bet you won't find one.
Well, that actually, you know what, Niko, I wrote a counter-propa article. I have a publication called Counter-Propa, and I wrote a counter-propa article. Oliver Darcy is the journalist that initially, quote-unquote, debunked Rod Wheeler. The interesting thing is there's a bunch of issues with that. At first, Rod Wheeler spoke for like around 4 minutes to Fox News. So it wasn't just well over 3 minutes, okay? It wasn't just a short interview. I counted the words that Oliver Darcy quotes Rod Wheeler. It's a total of 17 words. You would get more in a tweet. And it's introduced, let me see if I could find this. It's introduced as, you know how when you conduct an interview, you want to go ahead and publish the actual question that you have asked the person. Yeah. That's not what happens.
Yeah, it is a question that was asked to him. He responded, and they took it completely out of context.
Almost certainly out of context, and it's unbelievable how they say that they've debunked. They're arguing with themselves. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. Like, nobody said any of this stuff. They're like, yeah, Fox News retract statement. I'm like, okay, Fox News doesn't get to retract statements that Sean Hannity and the private investigator said. Like, whenever Fox News, we retract the statement. And then Hannity's they're trying to silence me on Twitter. Like, they're trying to silence me. They're trying to do this. They're trying to, he's freaking out. I was watching the Twitter as he was tweeting this stuff. And that doesn't add up. Okay. And then what he says, which I think is actually why you're looking for that, I think is very telling. What he comes on his show tonight and says, is pretty much to the effect of, I can't speak anymore about the investigation. I'm under contract. Yeah.
Now, if that isn't a cry for help, yo, please don't stop. I don't know what is. Because you gotta know your broadcasters. And Hannity is not one of those people who just stops pursuing something, no matter how much it pisses people off, and no matter how much we can dislike Hannity or whatever. He was one of the first ones to in the mainstream media to actually cover Julian Assange's side of the story. Okay, he obviously covered the private investigator as well, and the truth of the matter is, once again, you're not going to find any article saying that the private investigator retracted his statements or anything that he said was untrue. All he said was that he was misquoted on one aspect. Go ahead. And
one aspect, I'll read you this. This is the actual article that Oliver Darcy writes. And it's if this was like some kind of journalism class at a college.
Can you send it to me after we're done?
Yeah, for sure. I'll DM you. But this is what he says. The quote from Wheeler is, it's introduced by the following sentences. This is Darcy giving his dumb opinion on what the question is. So he explained that the comments he made to WTTG TV were intended to simply preview Fox News' Tuesday story. Okay. The WTTG TV news director did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Then he goes to Wheeler's quote. Then he goes to this quote that everything is based out of. Quote, I only got that. And then he puts brackets information. So it's not even like Wheeler actually kept talking, and he puts brackets information from the reporter at Fox News, Wheeler told CNN.
Hold on, he literally put the brackets and then words information?
Yes.
Holy crap. Okay, continue.
Yeah, and so you're going to have a field day with this. And then he goes, asked about a quote attributed to him in the Fox News story in which he said his investigation up to this point shows there was some degree of an email exchange between Seth Rich and Wikileaks. Wheeler said he was referring to information that had already been reported in the media. That's not a quote from Wheeler.
Yeah, he never said that.
That's a summary of what he's. So that's why, it's like this is the epitome of
an
a
attack dog. He was
it's a hit piece. It's not. Yeah. Wheeler has grounds to sue. That's obvious.
Oh God, sue? Oh man, he better take every everybody. I'm taking everybody to court. And what kills me is what they don't talk about. And you have to, if you've noticed, because I'm sure you've been researching this as much as I have. They've stopped saying Wheeler's name.
Yes.
They don't use his name in the large publications because if you type in Seth Rich, they don't want you to look up Seth or Rob Wheeler. Ron Wheeler, right? Rod Wheeler. I'm horrible with names. Rod Wheeler. They're not going to want you to look him up because it's the same tactic that they use with Julian Assange. If they can't suppress you, then they discredit you. That's the next step. And so they're still trying to suppress him by not allowing you to figure out who he is to get his credentials. Because once you get his credentials and you find out, oh, crap, he's been working for the Rich family since March. And nobody has had an issue with him until he spoke. And the family didn't have an issue with him then either until Bowman was put on. And then people said, but the family said it wasn't true. Oh, no. See, there's some CNN, them alternative facts that y'all love talking about because they didn't say that. All they said was that those statements were unauthorized. You know why? Because they were very, very careful. Because Bowman is a PR guy. He can't say the family said those statements were lies.
Yeah.
Because he knows what that means. That's a lawsuit for that ass. That's what that means. So you can't say that about a private investigator who's worked in law enforcement and knows exactly how to handle these situations. That's a tailored statement, ladies and gentlemen. The letter from Seth Rich's little brother to Fox News didn't say that either Kim.com or the private investigator was lying. They lied. It was
but also it's like they can't hide behind a spokesman for the family stating what the family says, or they can't this is now. I mean, first and foremost, the family should be of concern, but no one is spreading any lies number one, it's not an insult to be a WikiLeaks source. If anything, that's like a thing of people around the world view that to be heroic.
And apparently they would, and given what I've read about Seth, that would be expected of somebody like him.
Exactly. That's what an idealistic, Bernie supporter who wears a whole the American flag suit. Yeah, that's what somebody who loves the country. That's the type of thing he would. Oh my God! Wait, this is so corrupt. And also look at it from his perspective, Seth Rich's perspective. If he was the source, he's not going to think he's going to die because of this.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's like
he thought it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to release some information, and then it's going to they might be mad at me and fire me, but it's fine because I'm a patriot.
Exactly, and also the thing is, you can't. There's no quest for truth. There's no quest because they hate WikiLeaks so much that even being associated is like an insult to them. Whereas to every normal human being, it's like, hey, great. It's a great organization.
Well, no, I was going to say which I'm sure you can agree with me because you've been in this a little bit longer than I have. That's a new sentiment from the Democrats. Remember, they used to praise.
Well, yeah.
whenever the whole
Yeah,
Chelsea Manning era, whenever she was revealing everything about the Bush administration.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that exactly. That the Democratic Party, unfortunately, would probably do to that poor Seth Rich family what they did to James Comey. They loved Comey. Then they hated Comey because of the Comey letter. Now they love Comey again,
Yep.
and who knows? In about a week, they'll probably hate him again because he can't. Every time he testifies, he always finds a way to
shoot himself
over Clinton. So,
even if he's not trying to. Like, even when he's trying to save the claims, he's like, okay, they threatened me. I'm going to get it right this time. All right. Yeah, exactly. So she didn't, shred emails, but she did spill Coke on the laptop, and I actually saw a video for herself doing it. Oh, damn, was I not supposed to say that? But that don't mean that she had intention on doing so, though. Just want to clear that up. Okay? So we still
Exactly. I think that nowadays it's I gotta guess since I only got about 10 minutes left, but we gotta talk about this, man.
Yeah.
What's your take on what happened with you and Tim and me and Jordan?
Oh man, that whole situation is wild. First of all, for those of you who are wondering, I don't know for a fact if it was all because people keep saying it's Shank. I think some of it may have eventually have been Shank, but with at least me and Jordan and I can speak specifically that we had our own issues because of he didn't like the fact that I called out TYT for something that he actually agreed with me with for the most part because he actually didn't like the way they spent the money either. And he's expressed this to not only me, but other people. He doesn't even like some of the people that they hired. I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but this is a fact. I didn't think this would be an issue or a conversation that needed to be had. Mm-hmm. But what was peculiar to me was how at the exact same time he decided to attack you and Tim. That was a little weird to me. I was caught completely off guard. And then, I didn't watch the video at first. And then everybody's like, oh, it's okay, Tim. He meant Niko. I'm like, excuse me? So I go, at that point, I'm like, oh, it's beef now, homie. What's going on? I'm like, then he said, oh, and I listened to the video and I watched it. I'm like, no, he meant Tim because he definitely said all three of our names in the beginning of the video.
Exactly.
And then he went to read the notes, looked down, looked back up and said, him.
Like, of course he meant Tim. Of course he meant Tim.
What pissed me off, I guess, about the entire situation, there's a lot that was revealed in that situation. First of all, shout out to Jordan and TYT for all the followers. Appreciate it, bros. Second of all, there's a lot of white privilege that goes on in journalism. I'm going to be straight up about that. It's something I deal with daily, and I'm okay with it. It is what it is. I'm lucky to be where I'm at, and I'm appreciative. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that every single person that was quote-unquote okay said, oh, you guys should just make up.
Yeah.
Move forward. They were all white. They were all upper middle class, middle-aged white people. It's go forth for the revolution. And I'm like, okay, so here's my counter to that. Slander is grounds for a lawsuit. Blackmail in any other world of network television, you would be fired and then sued. And I'm almost 100% positive if these roles were reversed, if I or Tim had attacked him in the same way that he attacked us, not apologized for it, was very pompous about it, or tried to blackmail him, we would be just slaughtered.
Yeah. No, I think it also ties into how the liberal media, quote unquote, treated Rod Wheeler too. Yeah, I think that there's a racial element to that too. But it's just telling that they tried to run over us, but they actually got 3 spikes, and now they have all these flat tires. And
yeah,
the interesting thing about that, Niko, is that I don't know if you noticed this the way I did. There was such an underground hate for Young Turks that like so many people
were waiting for a reason.
And then when Jordan did that, it was also the way I saw it too. In addition to these insane remarks about you, and then obviously he meant Tim, but I think that all 3 of us are a threat to the TYT brand because that brand.
Me less so than Tim, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think all three of us, but that brand is now Justice Democrats. I think he was also thinking of Justice Democrats because they're trying to gobble up like Pac-Man the beautiful moment when that bird flew on Bernie's podium.
Yeah.
That beautiful moment was symbolic of just purity and just beauty and, you know, everything that we idealistic. And they try to turn it to, oh, well, eventually, you know, they're going to vote for whomever the Democrats cheat for or nominate.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, my thing is all three of us, we will investigate, we will be outraged, we'll go up against the DNC, we'll make enemies, but we'll do so. And then when we see the corruption, we will draw a line, say, hell no, we're not voting for this person. We'll vote for green or we'll vote for whatever. They won't. They're going to say Justice Democrats.
They're going to try to convince them every single time that Democrat's better. Every single time.
Exactly.
Oh, at least it's better.
It's never going to change.
We don't have time for the incrementalism anymore. And TYT in Massey does, you know, represent increment. Now, that's not everybody. It's not Michael Tracy, of course. In a lot of ways, that's still not Kyle Kalinske either. I really believe Justice Democrats was in a way hijacked from him by Schenck because it is a moneymaker. I'm going to be honest because I'm not stupid. Schenck is a former libertarian, and I know how libertarians get down. But I don't have to, because what you all need to understand is this. TYT is establishment. Whether they have good people or not is irrelevant to the fact that the brand of TYT is establishment. I am sure that there are good reporters at MSNBC, and I am sure that there are some good reporters at CNN and even at Fox News. But every time that myself or HA or even Schenck, for example, criticize these conglomerates, y'all don't say anything. Y'all don't say, but what about so-and-so? But what about this person? But what about they don't, because you have been programmed, which we've done a pretty good job of because they've helped us to believe that, okay, there might be a few good seeds, but that doesn't make the whole corporation great. It doesn't exonerate them for what that brand represents. It's
exactly.
It's cool. Well, at that time, whenever we used to praise Jordan, I can still praise Michael Tracy, but I can still insult TYT, and Michael Tracy would know, okay, well, I don't believe that, so it's not about me.
Yeah, whenever I go after TYT, it's not after Jimmy Dore. It's just they tried to hurt. Jordan tried to hurt us. He tried to destroy our
platform. I think that was one of the most frustrating things. He used the TYT 100,000 subscriber, 50, getting hundreds of thousands of views a week, that page, to try and crush independent journalists.
Exactly. And they tried, and then the thing is, they tried and failed. And now we crushed them, and they're on the ropes. And then people say, oh, well, you know what, calm down, forget about it. And largely, we've, kind of moved on. But you can't forget, because the only reason that people say that is because they didn't succeed. They failed in hurting us.
Yeah, but if that was
had they succeeded, imagine if they succeeded in silencing us. Mm-hmm. You think Jordan or TYT would offer an apology? No way. They still haven't.
They still haven't.
So,
nonsense apology.
Yeah,
and I think,
man. I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that it's great that. It was a blessing in disguise. I mean, your voice is now amplified a millionfold. You are going to blow up very soon in a very positive way. And you have a fantastic, refreshing, unique viewpoint. And I just hope that you get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube very, very soon, man. I think that, let's put it this way. The Seth Rich story and the DC lawsuit that you are part of history on, man, because of which you and Jared Beck and Elizabeth Beck are doing and have done. But I think that these two biggest stories, if we don't have Tim or you or me talking about it, or Caitlin Johnston or Zach Haller, well, then who the hell is going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Everyone's too scared. They're too, chicken to talk about it. And I look at it, like I said, like they're the conspiracy theorists, not us. Yeah. We're actually, there's a person out there named Kim.com, 150 million users on Mega Upload. I think he should be given, and then if you can imagine today, some idiot guy wrote an article and Mediaite about how it seems that Kim.com tried to hack Seth Rich's email. How do we know? Because there was a link sent to a freaking link.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to happen at some point, I'm sure. You should, when you get a chance, read the heavy article about Rod Wheeler. You're going to love this part. I'm just going to give you an example. 5 things you need to know about Rod Wheeler. He was piss test when he was a cop, and he pissed hot for marijuana. But he was then exonerated because it was a mix-up, actually. But he was alleged to have smoked marijuana. I was reading this article, and I know
that's a good thing.
Fight somebody. I was like, okay, and if he did piss hot for marijuana, and like, what does that mean? So that means 10 years later, he can't tell the truth all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Exactly. So
exactly.
But I know you got to get going, man. So I don't want to keep you too long, but I just want to thank you once again for coming. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for using because you've had a platform for a long time, and you immediately, once you saw, you had that choice that so many people have had and have neglected to choose to make the right decision. When you had that platform and you had a choice to make, you said, you know what? Because this is a reality that a lot of people don't think about when they watch you, and your YouTube does well now, and your Patreon's doing better now, but you could have killed your career as a journalist by doing what you did during the election process. We don't know where you could have ended up. It worked out, but it could not have. And for some people, it hasn't. Same thing with Tim. Tim was a very to be honest, like he's a very controversial black gentleman who didn't start off in political commentary, but it ended up working out for him. Same thing. The decisions that you both made are kind of like, they're pioneering for people like myself, like Zach, and others, because, y'all kind of show us like we can do this. We can get the same amount of views as they do on television by just speaking the truth, being honest, and doing what they won't do, which is present, objective, unbiased facts and analysis. And so I want to thank you for that, man.
Well, I want to thank you for the beautiful words, and I'd love to be back on again. And thanks for everything that you do, Niko. I really appreciate it.
We're going to have to get me, you, Tim, and Samir on. I think that's going to be
That'd be fantastic.
But thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate it. Definitely check out my YouTube page. I actually have 2 videos. Part 1 is already posted. If you want to go to my Facebook, you can go there as well to see the whole video. But part 1 is posted. I'm posting part 2 tonight. And it's a one-stop shop for all things Seth Rich. I will be posting links, repeat all day, every day, whatever I get, and I feel like it's pertinent. I will post it as long as it's kind of at least it's substantiated a little bit, because I'm not going to insult your intelligence. This is obviously an investigation, and as such, we should keep all options open that are absolutely ridiculous. Okay, and so you can use that as your one-stop shop. Go to the page, look at the links. There's links to tweets, videos. A crazy video just came out about Debbie Wasserman Schultz threatening the police chief. You saw that? Yeah. And I got that link on there as well. So just everything that you need to see, know, hear about, a good comprehensive analysis. I put part 2 and part 1 up, or part 1 and part 2 up. And then I'm going to put all the links for both of those on YouTube. So definitely go there if you have any I got to show you this link. It's for your friends who think that everything is conspiracy. Bringing back common sense to journalism. All right, people. So thank you all very much for watching Mikasa Sukasa. Good luck, Samira, on your job interview. And always remember, find your balance. Peace.